The mayor of Middlesbrough is leading a protest over the new coronavirus restrictions imposed in the area, saying, "We defy the government. We do not accept these measures." Andy Preston's stance has led to fears that residents will fail to take the measures seriously. Now, earlier today, Matt Hancock announced rules affecting 1.9 million people in parts of northern England following a rise in coronavirus. And in the last few minutes, the government's advisory committee, SAGE, has announced the R number is now between 1.3 and 1.6. That's up from between 1.2 and 1.5 last week. From Saturday, it will become illegal for houses to socialise in settings such as pubs and restaurants in Liverpool, Warrington, Hartlepool and Middlesbrough. The measures are similar to those in parts of other areas in the country. Let's speak then to Andy Preston, Mayor of Middlesbrough, back with us. Andy, afternoon again to you. Now, when we spoke a couple of days ago, you seemed fairly supportive of what the government were doing. What's changed?
No, I don't think that's true, Ian. What I was doing was I was saying that there is a way for us to work with the government to impose some restrictions, but actually allow people to still socialise in a safe way and to keep jobs alive. What's happening now is we're getting some restrictions which are very strong. They're severe. They're going to impact mental health. They're going to impact physical health, and they're going to impact jobs. So we are very disappointed. This is being imposed on us from tonight, just after midnight. We haven't really had any notice, no chance to get ready for this. So we're working furiously now. Obviously, listen, it's the law. So we're going to obey the law. We're going to follow the law. We're going to make the best of it, but it's going to be a challenging time for us, but we'll do our best.
Sure. What is the area that you think is going to be most troublesome?
The obvious one is jobs. Something like, I would estimate maybe 5,000 jobs, up to 5,000 jobs are at risk. I'm not saying they're going, but some of those will go immediately. Because of course, if you can only go to a restaurant or a pub with your household, there's going to be a huge fall in numbers. So jobs is a big obvious issue, but the less obvious ones are mental health. We have problems here, like everywhere, but we have poor levels of mental health generally, and there are people who are going to be pushed from a level of depression into absolute despair due to restrictions on socialising. So what we wanted to do was find a way of getting people together, allowing people to mix in their gardens. For example, I could stand and have a chat 3 meters apart from somebody in their garden. That's not allowed. So we're going to find new ways of trying to reach out to people with technology and other ways.
You said we defy the government, we do not accept these measures, but you're going to go along with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So when this was announced yesterday morning, and it came somewhat out of the blue, certainly had no detail, we had no idea what was being announced. We hadn't had any conversation, not one conversation with government at all on this ever. So we were surprised, shocked and not ready. So my first comment was crystal clear. No, you've got it wrong. Go away. Think about this. Come back and talk to us, because we've got local knowledge, local expertise and local ability to make good stuff happen. They didn't respond. They didn't react to that. They're imposing this on us despite the offer of help to make it work well. And it's going to be law. So as the mayor, I clearly have to follow the law, and everybody else has to follow the law too. So it becomes law tonight, and we will follow it and make the best of it.
Okay. Have you had any conversations with Matt Hancock or anyone from the Department of Health on this?
No.
Would you expect maybe even a junior minister, if Mr. Hancock's diary is busy, which we understand it is, would have called you? Would that be protocol?
What I think is that clearly he's got right now he's got the hardest job in the whole country. He's got an impossible task, and I'm critical. Everyone's critical. However, he or certainly one of his junior ministers would have time to have a quick call, send an email, reach out and discuss 3 weeks before, 2 days before they announced it, or even just after.
So they would say it's an emerging story, and therefore we wouldn't have that kind of notice.
Yeah, okay, it is an emerging story, but you know what? This is a much bigger story here, and while they are busy, they have to prioritise people, and we would all feel a lot better. We would feel listened to, we'd feel important, and we would feel valued if there had been some dialogue at any time. We haven't had a conversation with a single minister or civil servant about this.
So what happens now? You say we'll adhere to this because you're going to obey the law. What about fighting it? There might be a lot of your constituents there that think, actually, we want our mayor to get on the phone to Hancock. If he's not phoning you, why don't you phone him?
Well, the first thing we have to do is follow the law, right? We must not break the law. We will follow the law. What I will be doing is we'll be doing three things. First of all, reaching out to businesses, offering support, financial and other, to keep them alive, save jobs. Secondly, reaching into communities, targeting those who may be isolated and need other help. And the third thing, we're starting a big buy local campaign. We want to preserve as many local independent businesses as possible. But yeah, of course, behind the scenes, through using channels that I have open to me, I'll be reaching out to government, finding out, first of all, when we can come out of it. What do we need to do for you to remove these restrictions? Because we don't know that, and we want them to tell us. We're happy to propose something, but we want them to tell us what we need to do to get out of this. Because we think we can get our numbers down. We think we've got a compliant population. We've worked aggressively to keep the virus down. We've handed out 180,000 face masks across the town. We've done all kinds of things, and we'll continue to do that. We'll get our numbers down.
But there's clearly been an increase, one would assume, in order for these new measures to come into Middlesbrough. That's happened because of an increase. So those measures haven't necessarily worked in the way you wanted them to.
They have worked, but yes, there has been an increase. There's been a global increase, and nationally has been a national increase. And we've increased about in line with nationals. But we started, Ian, from a very high point. Our density of population and demography mean that we started with a very high infection rate compared to others. We were always in the top 5 or 10. We've managed to actually get down below that, and we're in the top 20 or 30, which isn't great, but we've stayed out of the top 10, and we think we've done a decent job.
But are you going to campaign on this point? Is this a case of, are these, if people from Middlesbrough are listening to this, they're listening to their elected mayor thinking and agreeing with you that these restrictions are causing problems, financial, mental health issues as well. We want our mayor to actively campaign. That's what we elected him for.
Yeah, of course. I will absolutely be following the law. I will be bringing in measures locally to make this work. And thirdly, I will be campaigning for a fairer deal, perhaps not just for us, but for other people. I think there's a middle way. You can protect people and you can still have venues that are safe where you can socialise and feel good and be human. And we need to find a way of living and working with COVID, not always running away from it.
Andy, thank you. Andy Preston is the Mayor of Middlesbrough with us here on Talk Radio.